and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Alter Confusion, a Thursday night hangout.
Charlie, frickin' Hawkins.
How?
It's been too long, sir.
Yes. Yes.
So, 2 weeks away from the show due to illnesses, snow, more illnesses, deaths in the eyeballs.
So what in the eyeballs?
Deaths in the eyeballs.
Someone went blind?
Well, for a period of time, you had to block out the sun.
Oh, well, yeah, I became hypersensitive due to a couple of things. One, because I had my wisdom teeth removed.
Ooh.
And two, because of this fun little sinus infection I somehow contracted.
Does that explain your wisdom status?
What, by lack of wisdom because my teeth have been removed?
Yes, we all know that is the fountain of wisdom.
No, I tell you what, though.
You get them in a little cup, so you give them to your kids as a wedding
Jesus,
gift.
No.
Don't you know it's a thing?
No, God, no. No, they threw my teeth away. I don't want to see them.
You could grind them up and give them to your wife as an everlasting gift of love. The teeth never die, even though my flesh withers away.
Huh. And people wonder why you're single. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, I am your host, Charlie. I'm joined once again by the prolific conjurer himself, Zealeus.
Greetings! It is
Hello, Luke's cast.
So, we haven't seen you in 3 weeks. What have you
Yes.
been up to in 3 weeks besides being deathly ill?
Let's see here. I have played some Paladins.
Paladins.
Some Paladins.
Oh my gosh, I'm sensing a theme here.
And some Paladins.
Wow, that is a lot of Paladins. Come join our Discord server.
And
I'm very confused.
it'll randomly shoot. I've been trying to get this bot to actually work, so.
Oh, so it's our bot.
Yeah, it's our bot.
Oh, thank you. It's a moo.
Anyways,
bot.
so I've also been playing some Mario Odyssey. I've also been playing the new Zelda game.
And what do you think of Mario?
Oh my God, it's fun as hell. It's one of those things where it is awesome simply by the fact that there's no lives counts. Well, sort of there's lives, but not really. What it is it's a coin-based thing. Every single time you die, a certain amount of coins get deducted from your overall total, and it's basically a carryover total throughout the entire game. And you're going to utilize that to buy basically outfits for Mario, and you have to have certain outfits to get to certain areas to unlock special. You're trying to find like these crescent moons, and the crescent moons you have to have a certain number to advance to the next stage. Now, of course, there's a shit ton more of them than just the number that you have to go to, or that you need. So, there's definitely replayability, and there's also new areas that get unlocked as you play the game. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I like the story, too. Bowser is trying to marry Princess, so he's basically popping around trying to get all these, magical items to make Princess marry him.
What about,
Zelda?
Zelda, yes.
Okay, I have a question. And it's a very simple question to anybody out there who's either watching this live or going to be watching the recording of it. When the hell did Zelda become Skyrim?
When did Skyrim become Zelda?
No.
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 Did Zelda become Skyrim?
Okay. In Zelda now, you have a magical tablet that gives you magical spells.
Okay.
They're called runes.
Okay.
Skyrim, runes. Then you also have the ability to buy a house. Skyrim, buy a house.
Okay.
All your weapons have finite durability. Skyrim, finite durability. Except for your armor or your outfit. That doesn't.
So your weapons have durability?
Yes.
Okay.
Your bows, your shields, and basically anything you can hit with.
What about magic?
There's a cooldown period between each one of your rune spells.
Oh, wow. Huh.
So, and of course you have just a finite number of arrows. And arrows aren't easy to come by. Because I went to a store where I'd previously bought arrows, and guess what? They don't have any more arrows because I bought them all away.
So there's actually the inventory in-game doesn't magically replenish?
Oh dear God, the inventory mini-game. So you only have a specific number of slots for weapons, a specific number of slots for bows, and a specific slot for shields. And it's just, it hurts so bad. All I freaking want is to be able to have a sword that I go through the game, and at some point I will upgrade the sword and just have a shield and find another shield that's better than the first one. But no, I've already gone through, I don't know, 15 shields and about 100 different weapons.
Because they've all broke?
Yeah, they break fast.
I was gonna say, that is some damn, like, it's one thing, like, if it takes you, like, 2 hours to break a sword. Like, okay. But that sounds like that's, like...
Dude, it's over the top.
Yeah,
like,
that sounds really quick.
Well, let's say that you have a wooden weapon, okay?
Yeah.
Something that probably should not be used as a weapon, but that's the only thing you got left.
Well, that's a lot of games. You start with a wooden sword.
You hit somebody, you probably won't get through an entire battle with a medium enemy without breaking your weapon.
That's actually sounds kind of obnoxious.
It is very obnoxious. So I constantly have like this steady stream of like weapons that basically are just rotating.
Sounds like a lot of micromanagement too of your inventory.
Oh, dear God, yes. Yes, yes. So I mean, it's.
Is it a good game?
Huh?
What about gameplay? Durability aside. I know it's a huge part of the gameplay, obviously.
There's a lot of, it's open world. There's a lot of exploration. There's a bunch of side quests you can do.
Let me be honest, it sounds like a game I wouldn't like.
I swear to God, it is Skyrim with a Zelda skin on top.
And I can't play Skyrim. I need game on rails.
I know.
Yes.
So it's not for you.
Yeah. Although I did start playing over the weekend was Knights of the Old Republic 2 with the
KOTOR!
in-game mod that got cut out of the original one because, guess what? The publisher hurried them on development.
What? A AAA publisher rushing development?
Surprise, surprise!
What is this, Ubisoft?
So I've been playing that game, which has been fun. So I figured, a little kick back to the past.
Right on, right on.
It's a good game.
Yeah, but I mean, so I've been playing, like I said, Zelda, Mario, and then of course Paladins.
I played a little bit of Paladins with you.
Okay, so real quick, I know this is we're not actually getting to the topics yet, but I swear to God, we are going to get there. I finally figured out what the fuck's wrong with my controller.
The fact you're using a controller and FPS?
No. It has to do with the precision.
Yeah.
If I change it to dynamic, it sticks.
Okay.
And it's not constantly kind of leaning to the lower right.
Huh.
As soon as I change that thing.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if your controller has a very negligible, hard to notice off center already, and by changing that setting, it's kind of like centering itself.
It could be Paladins versus Overwatch. Actually, let's hold off on that because we actually have two topics, one for Overwatch and one for Paladins that we'll go into. But if we want to go into that discussion, I think Zealeus would like to add an additional name to that. That would be Paladins versus Overwatch versus Team Fortress 2.
Well, as someone who's played, I'm not even
all three of them.
Who's played all three? Sorry, Paladins is a pale comparison to Overwatch in every way possible. The graphics are far superior. The maps are much more interesting.
Wait. Overwatch is better
graphics? Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah.
The maps are much more interesting and varied in what you have and what you can do. I much more enjoy the character. Now, granted, I haven't played a lot of characters in Overwatch or in Paladins. Sorry. So
but someone just gifted you the founder pack, so you can play with all of them.
True. So I can't speak to all the characters, but so far the characters, and I know every game borrows from other games. Don't get me wrong, but it's very obvious that a lot of the character designs from Overwatch came straight from Paladins.
No, you meant designs from Paladins came from Overwatch.
Thank you. It's just incredibly obvious.
And some of them I think would even go from League of Legends.
You see certain abilities, so we're playing yesterday, and I see this guy come with a hook, and it pulls him in, and he has a shotgun weapon. I'm like, oh, I've been wondering where Roadhog is in the game. Because,
that's Makoa!
It's certain characters are total, I don't want to say rip-offs, because there are little changes here and there, but it's very obvious. So, for me, I'm playing, I'm going to be honest, the only reason I'm playing Paladins is because I'm playing with Charlie, and yes, playing video games with your friends does make it more fun. I'm going to be blunt. If it weren't for the fact that I was playing with Charlie, I would have gone back to Overwatch immediately, because to me, Paladins doesn't do anything better than Overwatch. That's
why they're going to do this crazy-ass Battle Royale mode that's going to be, I don't even know what it's going to do.
Yeah, and you're right. TF2 is very different because the game modes, it can also do private servers, and the way the character loadouts.
You can do a custom game in Paladins.
Yes, you can do that in Overwatch, but TF2 is geared towards that.
I think we have a fan.
Yeah, TF2 is a great game. Don't get me wrong, I like TF2. I know the joke that came out when Overwatch, and I made the same joke, when Overwatch came out, it was TF3. So here I am, talking about, Paladins stealing from Overwatch, but I would posit that Overwatch, yes, it definitely is a takeoff of TF2 and the FPS genre, but it's a very unique spin in basically every way. The characters, the game style, the maps are very unique.
How the game
plays.
Also, how they handle additional characters and expansions.
Yeah. So I've been playing both, and I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it right, but the hitbox in Paladins, maybe it's because I'm so used to the Overwatch style of hitbox, but the hitbox and the way it feels when you hit an enemy in Paladins just feels off to me somehow, like not quite as solid. I don't know how to describe it. It might be because I played Overwatch so much more than Paladins. There's just something about that hitbox. It just feels a little bit squishy in Paladins.
So, we're waiting for Gabe to count to 3. Here's I've done this bold prediction several times, but here's my bold prediction. When VR is finally set, because it's not set. I mean, yeah, we've got VR games out there. Whee! Let's be honest.
Let's call it mainstream.
Mainstream, okay. Once VR goes mainstream and there is like a solid software development kit that everyone can utilize, and the HTC Vive will probably be at the forefront because that's the one being backed by Valve. Once that is fully implemented, then I think that you'll see a Half-Life 3. I have no idea about Team Fortress 3, though.
I would honestly be very surprised if the TF3 ever came out, because they're still actively developing TF2, and let's be honest, TF2 now is not... So I started playing Team Fortress 2 when it was the original Orange Box, when you got Half-Life 2 as a part of that. So we're talking... This is when I lived in Minnesota.
Oh my God.
So we're talking... we're probably, I think, a decade ago, and also before there was any hats. I played before there were hats or microtransactions in TF2. But you play TF2 now, it's a different game. So TF2 is really, to me now, Team Fortress 3. Because it's so drastically different than Team Fortress 2, the original incarnation. I wouldn't say it's different for the better or worse. It's just a completely different game because all the different loadouts, because, original TF2, you didn't have all these loadouts. You played your heavy, you had Natasha. That was it, You didn't have all these options and stuff. You had your boxing glove. You didn't have any sandwich. So the way you can change up your characters and your classes to be totally unique, it's like it's entirely different first-person shooter than what it was back in the day. But that's the beautiful thing that Valve has done, is that they've also done, I know there's microtransactions in TF2, but they've made these changes where you can still play TF2 with all the new stuff without having to pay out of the arse to get all the microtransaction stuff.
Real quick, you're talking about the evolution of like Team Fortress 2 from basically from when you started playing it to now, and how it's basically not the same. The same could be said about Paladins.
Sure.
The reason why I say that is because I played in the beta. The closed beta. I also played, I guess technically, is it still in beta?
Well, and that's the thing, to be fair. To be fair, I am bashing Paladins because I don't think it's the best FPS, but I will fully say it's a very young game. And look how far, I'm having a total brain fart in their MOBA. Hi-Rez's MOBA.
Smite.
Thank you. Look how far Smite came. Smite, when it came out, probably wasn't exactly solid gold either, but Smite is a solid MOBA now. So, Paladin still can definitely become a great first-person shooter.
But the thing that kinda is weird for me personally is that Paladins has really, the core mechanic has absolutely changed 3 times. The first time was literally your character had a deck of cards, and you would basically get, every single time, you would level up as you play through the game. And then during every single level up, it would deal some cards and you got to select one that would basically boost your character. There's also completely different maps. That went away, and then they decided to do the, you have so many points to put into a certain 5-card layout. And that was it for a bit. And now, you're in a 5-card loadout. However, the difference now is that every single card has a level 1 to level 10, basically, effects. So the higher the level of the card, the more effects you have.
Yep.
Now, of course, a lot of people have been like, well, that's pay to win. Sort of. It is if you're playing casual. But there are casual, that's fine. Tell her it's fine. Well, she can hear me. But anyways, there are ways that you're basically bound by a certain limit. So basically, it sets all your cards to level 4. So you save that. When you play competitive, you have no card advantage. It's all you get. The only thing you get to do is you get to customize your loadout. You get the 5 cards that you want, but they're all the same level for everybody.
And that's. So, here I was, I really was talking about, Paladins and how it does nothing unique from Overwatch. The card system and the way you get to choose your 3 skills, that is really different. And here's the thing. On one hand, I want to say it's really cool. Like, I do like the unique take on it, and it definitely gives it a very different flavor than Overwatch. But here's the thing that makes me pause about that, and this is also a different approach that Paladins does take to Overwatch, so I'm still pondering, do I like or not? I haven't decided yet. Is Overwatch is a game of counters. That's a big part of the game. You're getting, face stomped by a Widow, well, go change to Genji. You're getting killed by Genji, well, change to somebody who can kill him. It's a game of counters because you know exactly what that other player's skill set is. Like there's no cards, there's no anything. There's no variance. You know if that Widowmaker is headshotting you, it's because they're just an ace with that rifle. Versus a game like Paladins, you cannot change inside the game. And I'm not saying that's a bad or good thing. You
can't change characters, you can't change loadouts.
I'm still deciding about that and the loadout. So if I'm getting face stomped by a certain character in Paladins, I can't change characters, that's fine, because you're on a level playing field at least. So I have to ask myself, is it because of their loadout or what's going on there? So I'm still deciding on that perspective, so I like that they did something really unique. I think that's cool. If they didn't do that, it would be really cookie cutter, but the way they did the card system, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I'm still just trying to, process that and how do I look at that from a competitive standpoint. But I really like that they definitely did something unique. So that's cool. I like that. So it definitely has the potential to be something really good.
I agree. So speaking of Smite, let's go to, actually not Smite. Which one would you rather do first, the Paladins or the Overwatch stuff?
Let's go and do Paladins first. Why not?
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to skip around here. So as a result of whoops, of course I screwed that up. After all this talk about this Premier League, the Overwatch Pro League that's going to have these land-based or location-based teams that are going to be playing, and it's all highly controlled, and there's going to be a certain amount of money for like all the players. They get salaries, all that stuff. Well, Hi-Rez has come out and said, we're going to do that, but we're not going to do the $20 million buy-in. So I'm going to read you a little bit of a press release here to kind of give you an idea of what they're attempting to do, okay? Hi-Rez will be super cautious about letting smaller, less established organizations into the Paladins Premier League, also called the Paladins Pro League. It's basically the economics of that league are actually allowing the teams to pay their players' salary and to be profitable. So they're only taking on big name teams. There's not going to be any like Bush League teams that are amazingly going to pop up in there unless they can get a huge sponsor.
Sure.
The COO, Todd Harris, who's a really cool guy, said the first 10 teams included in the Paladins Premier League are very established, experienced esports brands. And they're chosen because they've been around for a while. I do not have the list in front of me, but I could tell you that there are definitely they're looking to put the season in. I don't know if they've got. Let's see here. We're going to be super cautious about the economics of the league, or actually allowing the teams to pay their player salaries and to be profitable. They didn't have to pay $20 million to join. Tell me one other esport where that exists. I love that they're smacking, that they're kind of doing a little finger waving to Blizzard. Now, don't get me wrong, Paladins is still way in its infancy, but if it could, this is probably a good move on their part, because esports is really starting to become serious or legit. So why not have something established, strong, or just an established league where teams are actually going to be able to stick around? And of course, this also, because of the structure, will keep teams together. I think that's the big thing. Well, because Zealeus and I can easily tell you that for the first was this year 5 or 6 of the Smite World Championship?
I went to, yeah.
There's been a lot of turnover either in the teams or in the team names. It could be the exact same team, but a totally different name. There was a 2-time champion, NRG. NRG was before that, I think they were Titan. It was literally, so you want to find a team you want to root for. And by keeping the same people, by keeping the same name, it becomes easier for you to follow.
Yeah, I agree. I do like the little pot shots, because it's not like being, like, there's a way to kind of be funny pot shot.
Yeah.
And being like a jerk about it. Like the way, the way that Hi-Rez is doing is very good natured.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd love to see, Hi-Rez try to get a $20 million franchise tag for a team in the first place, let's be honest. But it's smart for Hi-Rez to take this approach, because, when you take Paladins compared to Overwatch, obviously one's up here as far as knowledge and all that stuff,
recognition,
and Paladins down here. So what, are you likely to get that franchise free for Paladins? Probably not as much, so why not still do it? My question is, Overwatch League is obviously just coming out now. Mm-hmm. Just started, last week actually?
Yeah, I think
so. We've kind of already been talking a little bit how Paladins is still,
so January 10th, so 2 weeks ago.
And FPS still very fledgling. It's still figuring out really what is it as far as an FPS goes. Mm-hmm. Is how much traction is it going to really be able to gain? Because it plays and looks and acts very similarly to Overwatch.
And
Again, that's no knock against it.
Right.
It's just you're competing against the same crowd to watch your game.
So here's the wicked curveball that I think that Hi-Rez has actually figured out, mm-hmm. and the reason why they kind of took a little poke at the $20 million thing.
Sure.
There were quite a few teams that were interested in entering the Overwatch Pro League, but they didn't have $20 million to go.
Okay.
Now you're talking about a game that's similar in the vast majority of the mechanics, that's willing to have a league that's probably not as prestigious as the Overwatch Pro League. However, it's promising a flavor of that, and they're not asking for an exorbitant amount of money, mm-hmm. and also it's not location based. You don't have to have your entire. One of the biggest issues I have with the Overwatch Pro League is that you have teams from Dallas, from New York, from Boston, from Florida, from did I already say Dallas? Two San Franciscos, Shanghai, and Seoul, and they're all these guys are from here. However, the entire league, the entire season takes place in LA, which is bizarre as shite to me. Now, I don't know how the Paladins Premier League is going to do it, if it's going to be all in Atlanta, or are they going to be rotating different places? I thought it would be kind of cool to have a couple of arenas set up for the Overwatch Pro League that they rotate to during certain splits. Mm-hmm. Just so that, if you're, it's just like if you have a sports team. If you're a fan of the Atlanta Falcons, but the Atlanta Falcons are always playing in Minnesota, because that's where everybody plays, it's kind of weird and it's kind of hard on my fandom, because unless I'm willing to pay to go up to Minnesota, I'm never going to actually see the team in.
Can I give a non sequitur?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if everybody heard, But Vince McMahon has announced today that they're relaunching the
XFL
in 2020. So you're talking about football, and of course the news is like, really? So, anyways.
No. But I think that this potentially, if Hi-Rez actually doesn't, screw the pooch and forget to pay players, international players specifically, I'd be very interested. Actually, I'd be very interested to see if it's an international thing or if it's just local.
Domestic, yeah.
Yeah, if it's just U.S. or not. Because that I don't know. They didn't say anything about that.
2020. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes with Pat. I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical of how successful is it going to be. It seemed, I still get the feeling that Hi-Rez is splitting its resources a little too much at times.
Well, to be honest, okay.
That's one of my worries.
So one of the issues that Hi-Rez has, and I don't really, I know that they want to expand, okay? So, and they want to build off of established brands, but I think and Zealeus is completely right. I think they're building too fast and trying to diversify too much. So what is happening is that you've got Smite, the MOBA for the PC, also for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4.
Which I love Smite because it's a very unique take on it with the third-person view. So I feel like that, it seems like to me Smite is, don't forget Paladins, still develop that.
Right.
It still seems like Smite is really should be concentrating on to me. I don't know.
But how about Hand of the Gods, Smite Tactics, which is basically going after Hearthstone by the way, that shit has changed big time.
I think I played it like that. I played it in alpha beta,
No, dude, it's changed
I'm
like
sure
a lot. Because when I went to Hi-Rez Expo this past, I don't know, like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like, what is this game they're playing? It's like, no, dude, that's Hand of the Gods. I'm like, that's not Hand of the Gods. That's what, no, that can't be. So I went home, I'm like, oh, damn. So that's changed. So they've got that. Okay, so they got a card game to go up against Hearthstone. Then, of course, they've got Paladins to go up against Overwatch. They've also got a Paladins mobile game that's going to come out that I don't know exactly what that's going to kind of shoot for. But it was interesting until it broke.
So basically, Hi-Rez is trying to get in every online competitive arena there is.
And then thankfully they have one game out there, or there's a game in development that I don't know where it is on the the food chain, but it has nothing to do with Smite. It has nothing to do with Paladins. So that's interesting. So, anyways, we'll see. I mean, Paladins Premier League could potentially be pretty cool. It is odd though that they are looking more towards the less developed product in their repertoire. Wouldn't you think that there would probably be more traction in a Smite Pro League than a Paladins Pro League? Isn't that a little weird?
Yeah, that's exactly what I would think. Because I just don't see, from a player standpoint, yes, I can see that. But just from a fandom standpoint, unless, I know you're very invested in Hi-Rez, but unless you're really invested in Hi-Rez and a company, I just don't see how they're going to pull that audience from Overwatch League to watch Paladins. I just don't choose. Smite makes sense to me because it's a different type of MOBA. So I see where the interest in that as an esport comes from because it's a different take than you get, with Dota 2 and LoL. Whereas Paladins is so similar, I just don't see how they're going to pull that user base and really be able to gain traction and make a dent when you're going up directly against Overwatch. I'm just talking from a purely spectator standpoint, because that's what matters in this case. So that's what I'm curious of.
Well, I mean, and to be honest with you, and this is actually an interesting thing for you to say. Let's say that Paladins focuses their season when Overwatch is off season.
They have to. Yes,
I know,
yes.
but and this is actually. And it's actually funny because I was listening to the radio about revealing that the XFL is going to be coming back. And the only way for XFL to truly succeed is if they do it during the NFL offseason.
And they also pick markets that the NFL hasn't already tapped. Because, I mean, if you're already an Atlanta Falcons fan, are you going to pay to go to another 5 home games of basically an Atlanta knockoff football team?
Right.
That's the question. I think the answer is no, but there's still plenty of, mid to larger size markets for them to tap that are never going to have a football team, especially like in the Midwest. So I think there's still a lot of cities in Florida that haven't been tapped. So I think there's still a lot of chance. I mean, it's the XFL, so who the hell knows? But there are definitely still markets and time for them to tap.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll see how it ends or how it goes. All right, so let's go on to the Overwatch stuff, shall we? Mm-hmm. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so since we went to the Paladins Premier League talk, let's talk about the Overwatch Pro League, which of course started January 10th. Now, of course, the crazy thing is that this is strictly streaming, all right? Mm-hmm. It did not show up anywhere on TV, well, at least in the US. I'm not exactly sure about other places. But what I can tell you is that Major League Baseball, ML BAM, I believe has the streaming.
Yes, they do a lot. They also do the streaming for WWE.
Actually, they didn't do the streaming there because they did it on Twitch and on MLG.
But I think they support like the back end stuff.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Is my understanding.
All right, so here's the deal. The Overwatch League reached 10 million unique viewers across all platforms and an average of 280,000 viewers per minute on Twitch and MLG during the opening weekend. What that means is that they got more viewers than Thursday Night Football.
Well, Thursday Night Football is crap, so that's not surprising.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, from experience, like, I work in a school, and those kids, what video game they talk about all the damn time? Overwatch. Like,
actually, I'm sorry, I have to correct myself. ML BAM is for League of Legends, not Overwatch.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah. They are all in. That the kids, Overwatch is what they are playing. So that's not. I mean, I don't want to say it's not surprising to me because obviously this surpasses expectations.
Right.
But as far as the success goes, if someone's going to do it, it's going to be Blizzard and Overwatch because it's popularity with these kids. And how are these kids all watching whatever they're watching online?
Right.
They're not sitting in front of the cable box and changing into.
What is a cable
they don't sit there watching NBC at 7 o'clock to watch Wheel of Fortune.
What is NBC?
Exactly. They're all on their tubes and U's and Twitches.
So after this, okay, so the opening weekend, there's a couple of interesting things that happened. One, there were two humongous sponsorships that were put into effect. One, the car manufacturer, Toyota, has jumped both feet into the Overwatch Pro League. And the second big company was PepsiCo, jumped in completely. So you have Toyota and PepsiCo becoming major sponsors for the Overwatch Pro League going forward. Blizzard has reportedly signed a $90 million deal with Twitch to basically stream their stuff. Now, they started January 10th, and it will go through June 16th for the first season. So that's the regular season. Then the actual playoffs, postseason, whatever, starts in July. Games will occur on Wednesday through Saturday, featuring 3 matches per day. It should be interesting. I do wonder. So this was the 10th. So what day was the 10th? If today is the 25th, you go back 15 days. So that would be a Friday? No, Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. I believe it's a Wednesday.
So, question. Do you have anything in the topic about some of the stupid things Overwatch kids have done?
No.
So here's what I'm curious. So you're talking. Okay, so a big deal that I was talking about is the sponsorships from Toyota and Pepsi. Mm-hmm. Well, they've also had, and I think the last 2 weeks, you've had some kids. These are young kids who basically on the internet can do basically whatever they want most of their lives, and all of a sudden they're potentially making millions. And so over the last 2 weeks, you have one kid who's got in really big trouble for making homophobic slurs.
No, he got
fined for it.
No, he got suspended.
And then you had a kid, this was like today or yesterday, who he didn't think he was online yet, but he was, and he flicked off the cameras. Is what happened there, and he ended up getting fined. And it's just, some of this, and they probably, it doesn't excuse it. They might not even realize what they're doing is bad. I mean, they're kind of living like this little insular bubble, but the point of this is, the Overwatch League is trying to get sponsorships, and there's one thing sponsorship leagues don't want with your league.
Right, and I
that's
think,
the controversy.
Right, but that's the thing. The Overwatch Pro League, both the ruling body and the individual teams, as soon as something is iffy, they're suspending those people or finding them because they know they've got to get ahead of this if they want to succeed. So the sponsors aren't. I've got to use this example. They're not fearful like they are on YouTube, where they're like, I want my ads only on good, wholesome stuff, and YouTube goes, okay, and then their algorithm sucks everyone's left nut and screws over everyone, and the next thing you know, you've got like, I don't know, Activia yogurt being put on a neo-Nazi propaganda video because their algorithm doesn't work.
They need to eat too, man.
Yeah, whatever. But I think that the fact that they're being very quick at trying to resolve this, I think the sponsors are like, okay, we could trust that they're not going to let this go south.
I agree, and they have been very responsive. It's not like they're dithering around being like, well, gee, I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, you're right. They have been. The one thing I did find interesting that I found is for the Blizzard Overwatch League, they have not quite posted yet the code of conduct rules.
To the public.
To the public, yeah. There are some, that the players have to adhere to, obviously.
Apparently, because they're getting fined and suspended.
Yeah, so I would just be kind of interested to see exactly what that code of conduct is. Probably you can't talk, homophobic slurs about your people while you're playing. It's probably not in the up and up. And my guess is also probably some line, basically like the NFL, where we can fine or ban you for any damn reason we want.
No, it's not a Goodell situation. Anyways, we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting.
The real question, so now we have this, it's already been successful, is, Snapchat, no. Bad Snapchat. The Overwatch League isn't going to be a flash in the pan. It's going to be around. But is this a sign of things to come where it's going to continue to explode in growth? Or is it possible that, like, the people who are already really interested in Overwatch League, they've already kind of checked it out? And I expect some growth, but I'm kind of curious, is it really going to grow, or is it just kind of always be that thing that is there? But
You mean World of Poker?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that could potentially really show that that it has the potential to grow is that they need. I understand that that esports are starting to kind of like infiltrate colleges, and there are some colleges out there that are handing out scholarships, and of course, the big one that gets televised every single year is Heroes of the Dorm, which is Heroes of the Storm on the collegiate level. I think if you have a Division I Overwatch college league, that then you could get them even earlier, and you've got basically you're just built, because then other people are like, what the hell is this? School spirit, yay! And then of course you follow. If a person is good enough from your school, you'll follow them.
Well, I guess, okay, here's a question.
Yeah.
So we're talking about schools, and yes, you have Heroes of the Dorm. So right now, isn't there age floor for Overwatch League? Do you remember?
18. You have to be 18. Even if you are phenomenally amazing, there was.
So basically, you have to graduate high school.
Yes.
I know there's always exceptions.
You don't have to graduate high school.
No, as far as age. So
Right.
I'm just talking relatively speaking. You basically means
it has to
you're
deal
the
with-
equivalent of a high school graduate.
You have to be considered not a minor.
Okay.
So that if you have to go overseas or visas, that it's just for you.
So
You
here's
have
what I'm
to have a
curious of,
guardian.
though, is, the NCAA for your pro sports, they're basically, it's a feeder system.
Right.
Is how will that work with if the NCAA get these actual esports, and actually have like Division I competitions? I kind of wonder how that feeder system with NCAA versus esports will work, especially with the issue of paid esports, because that's a big deal for esports tournaments. I mean, you don't even have to be that good.
Right, you're going right back. The thing is, it's going to be like the NBA. Again, you'll have a scholarship to play at the school, and if you're good enough, a team's going to snatch you up, and you're going to go to them so you can actually get paid.
Yeah, I mean, we had a kid this week who is out in California playing in a paid Super Smash Brothers tournament.
He's no longer eligible.
That's what I mean, though. But that's such a big thing where these kids, they got the crazy 12-year-old crazy crack Adderall attention span stuff going. It's nuts. And, they're already 12 years old getting paid because they're so good. But now that means they're not eligible for D1 potentially things because they're that good. I mean, it's a different world.
There was a guy who was a football player.
Yes.
And with the YouTube channel, and he was monetizing his channel, and NCAA said, look, you can keep your channel and you can keep monetizing it, but you can't do anything around football. And of course, the vast majority of views was around football. So he decided, F you NCAA, and quit the team.
Yeah. I can just definitely see that making things interesting because, I mean, you can go to your local GameStop and you can win a Street Fighter II tournament and get paid in GameStop gift cards. Did you just break eligibility?
Gift cards that are only good within the store? I don't know about that.
I'm just saying, like...
Right.
Well, esports is totally different.
But let's say that you have your kid who's made money off a Smash Brothers tournament, okay? So he's actually utilized some kind of skill and brought in a profit. Now he goes to college. If he becomes like an athlete, and something else, is he eligible? I don't know. That's something for the NCAA. All right, so let's talk about something very interesting happened 15 days ago, or 2 weeks ago. As many of you probably have heard, this Harvey Weinstein scandal, and basically all these big wigs are like dropping like flies because of the sexual harassment, sexual abuse, all that crazy stuff. Excuse me. Now, one name that has recently come out is the Lord our Savior of Marvel, Stan Lee. Now, what has come out is basically there were nurses from the company that's basically been treating him in his home that has said that he's sexually harassed them, that he's constantly trying to grab at their asses, has made inappropriate remarks such as he wants them to perform oral to him while he's in the shower, and other stuff. And, but the interesting thing is that this story broke about January 10th-ish. But nothing else has come out of it. There's not been a single word. And the reason is that the lawyer that's taking care of this has made a very interesting statement.
Okay. It's Stan Lee's lawyer or the accuser's lawyer?
No, Stan Lee's lawyer.
Okay.
Stan Lee's lawyer, here's his statement.
Yep.
We are not aware of anyone filing a civil action or reporting these issues to the police, which for any genuine claim would be a more appropriate way for it to be handled. Instead, Mr. Lee has received demands to pay money and threats that if he does not do so, the accuser will go to the media. Mr. Lee will not be extorted or blackmailed and will pay no money to anyone because he has done absolutely nothing wrong. And as a side note, the brand new nursing staff company that has been put into place since these guys have gone has said that he has been nothing short of just a cute little old man.
I mean, the way I look at it is, if what actually happened is true, I don't know, then figure it out and go to the police and let the process take place. Unfortunately, sometimes the people we place on pedestals shouldn't be on pedestals. We've seen these in the last couple of months with all the light and truth that has come out.
Kevin Spacey.
There's been a lot of these really famous popular people who we really liked. I was a big fan of Kevin Spacey's a great example. I was a big fan of Kevin Spacey. I mean, his performance in House of Cards is phenomenal. I mean, from a purely objective standpoint, his acting skills is crazy. But now, anytime I'm going to watch these television shows that have Kevin Spacey, it definitely puts a different perspective on it. And there's some pretty creepy stuff actually in House of Cards, especially when it comes to sex things going on in House of Cards. And now, now if you watch it again,
it's gotten even super creepier.
Yes, especially with one of the things very specifically. So now you're kind of like, well then. So definitely you can potentially change things. And that kind of goes back to, the way we kind of look at from, working in a school is, how much do you really know a person if they're just out there, you don't actually know them? It's probably, a lot of these people, Charles Barkley is always very famous for saying, don't put me in a pedestal. I wasn't, I'm
terrible.
I wasn't here to be an idol. The people we make our idols out there, there's probably people who are closer to make an idol better than famous people.
Well, true, but the unfortunate thing is that famous people get most of the spotlight.
Yeah.
And they do, when they do something, it's one of those go big or go home, and they do good big things. A great example of an individual who is absolutely batshit nuts because he's never learned responsibility, but he keeps doing stupid shit and keeps getting himself in trouble, is the very popular YouTuber Logan Paul.
I thought you were going to say Johnny Depp.
I'm just sick and tired of Johnny Depp. But Logan Paul, of course, if y'all don't know, he released a video that was all about the Japanese suicide forest, where he actually did. White Kid knows exactly what I'm talking about. It was very inappropriate. He tried to, kind of legitimize it. If you are a dumbass who's doing dumb shit all the time, don't try to do a serious piece, especially if you're going to be giggling and acting like a moron like you usually do.
But here's the problem too, is I think for somebody like Logan Paul, let's just take him specifically, who that's the world they live in. Like their world is online. It's, what does Twitch call it? That Twitch
IRL.
thing. The IRL thing. Their virtual world is their IRL world. They are one and the same. So when it comes to doing something that, I know I'm probably in the minority here, I totally get that. I do think Logan, from what I saw, went in with somewhat at least genuine intentions, but the problem is when that's the world you live in, of being stupid, dumb shit all the time, you don't know how to transition properly. You don't know how to feel that empathy or those other things that go along with that, because that is your norm, is being crazy. So even if you thought genuinely that you're going to try to do something serious like this and you weren't just going to make a joke of it, that's not the world that they know how to interact with.
Well, here's the deal. He could have done it a totally different, of course we're going on to Logan Paul here, but, and while we're talking about this, let me just throw this up here too, because it's the suicide prevention lifeline number for anyone who needs help. I think the intention might have actually been good. The unfortunate thing is the execution was terrible.
Oh, I totally agree.
If you want to talk about the suicide rate in Japan, put some statistics up there and put a still shot. Don't have you walking through the woods with one of the aliens from Toy Story beanies on your head acting like a dipshit, and then showing the entire world a close-up of someone who's hung in a tree.
But that's what I mean is, stars like Logan Paul, where they live, that is their life, is shock. And they're always told how great they are because of these shocking things they do.
That doesn't give them a pass, though.
No, it doesn't give them a pass. I'm just giving a perspective of that's why they do this. And I'm not giving a pass. I'm just saying I don't even think they know how to do what you're saying, is what I'm saying. That thought never even occurs to them because
Logan Paul, come invite me over to your house. I'll smack you upside the head and teach you logic.
We actually talked about this. I remember very distinctly in high school religion class where we talked about
not religion and morality.
Where we've talked about the forming of a conscience and, malformed consciences.
Those who start early and don't learn that actions have consequences.
Exactly. And I think that's part of it is, for some of these guys like Logan Paul, the consequences that should have actions for others is actually good for them in terms of their viewership on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what people eat up. So that's what you learn in their conscience is actually a good thing. So when they try to turn that conscience around to actually do something genuine and good, that's not a part of their psyche.
I don't care.
That's my armchair psychology for the night.
Fantastic. I think the guy's still a douchebag, and I think that even if his intentions were good, his execution was the worst thing he possibly could have done. I will give him this.
Well, there's worse he could have done, but it's totally not appropriate.
No. I will give him one thing, though.
Okay.
So this video, which basically should have been immediately removed from YouTube because it's a violation of like almost every single thing,
yes,
or at least age gated or something. It wasn't age gated. It wasn't removed. It was actually trending on YouTube, so it's on its front page. And it wasn't until Logan Paul actually goes, I gotta remove this. And he was the one who removed it. YouTube's like,
it did force YouTube to go back and change some of their policies. Like I know Whack Kid, you actually posted about the whole YouTube, I forget what it's, the monetization stuff.
Yeah, it's the partnership program.
The partnership program. And Logan Paul, this whole incident, that was part of the impetus behind YouTube changing some of the rules about the monetization. Now, that's not the only thing they changed. They changed some other things too. But part of it was what happened with Logan Paul and YouTube going back and like, well, maybe we should re-examine this whole monetization process.
Well, not really. I mean, what was happening was that they had a lot of people who weren't actually making any money. And of course, there's so many videos out there that no one could watch it. Logan Paul is a preferred YouTube partner. So his stuff is different. It's those, like, you know, the individuals who have probably, you know, the propaganda videos and stuff like that, that get a lot of views and, you know, have like a Toyota ad in it. And they want to keep all those, you know, advertisers happy. So they're trying to get rid of that. The unfortunate thing is that's also destroying a lot of the grassroots people who have been there and been basically, you know, nickel and diming the entire way, or or they're a startup and they need to like test the water. And of course, they're not going to be able to test the water because you're not going to get enough views and subscriptions and stuff. So you have to find another way to do it. And of course, Patreon is one of them. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but I'm blanking on it right now. So anywho, all right, on to a very interesting topic. And it revolves around copyrights. And ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting thing may happen in the very near future. And that is Mickey Mouse might lose his copyright.
Oh my, it's only been extended a couple thousand times.
So I know, but because of the crazy political environment we have, there's a very good chance that a lot of books, films, and songs published in 1923 will fall out of copyright protection.
Into the public domain.
Which would create some very unique situations. So, of course, why say Mickey Mouse? Mickey Mouse, his very first film, Steamboat Willie, is set to expire in 2024. Now, of course, they don't get that extension in. That means that Steamboat Willie, where Mickey Mouse was introduced, could become public domain. And of course, there are a ton of other things out there. And of course, this is probably scaring the shit out of the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, and of course, Recording Industry Association of America, which would be, that would be nuts. I mean, that really would be nuts. I would be very interested to see what.
I kind of feel though, like things like, let's just take Mickey Mouse for example.
Yeah.
Like some of these, if 100 years after the fact, if it's still so ingrained in our psyche that, you know, Mickey Mouse is Disney, I don't see potential interlopers who want to then, like, you know, reuse Mickey Mouse in their own image, like having that big of a dent.
No. What you would be able to do is you could utilize Mickey Mouse in your own way without repercussions.
But that's what I mean is, like, Mickey Mouse is already so ingrained in Disney where I don't see much of a dent against the Mickey Mouse marquee as we know it. But we also look at Disney, and Disney, I think Disney's seen the writing on the wall of this. And that's why they're going around, and they have been now for some time, in buying up all these franchises. Is because I think Disney sees like, okay, our copyright's coming up, and, you know, that's why they're taking over the media universe as we know it.
Right.
Because they're like, you know what? If we own all the damn companies out there, who cares what the copyrights are? Because we own it all.
The unfortunate thing is that if that copyright were to become public domain, it's not the other companies that they've bought that's going to be the issue. The thing is, what a lot of companies have been able to do with their copyrights is they've basically been able to smack lawsuits on individuals, even if it's right or wrong, and they can basically have them settle out. And of course, you know, they're always going to win because they're the big bad company. But let's say that Mickey Mouse's copyright disappears. Now any individual can utilize Mickey Mouse in any way they see fit, be it merchandise, t-shirts, pens, paper, pencils, sleeping bags, night lights, pornographic videos,
Rule 34.
Crossover stuff, and they don't have to ask permission to utilize that. Fun story, fun side note about copyright stuff. There is a movie out there that's very famous, but for a very interesting reason. There is a movie that you've probably seen a shit ton around Christmas. That movie, of course, which the name is now escaping me, because I can't.
Is that the Red Ryder Beaver gun movie?
No, not Christmas Story.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
No, it's old school. It's about every single time the bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Nightmare on Elm Street?
Wonderful Life. Wonderful Life. Here's a fun fact about The Wonderful Life. When that movie was released, it tanked. I mean, absolutely tanked. No one really gave a crap about it. The copyright holders were just like, I don't know what the hell to do with it. So they allowed it to elapse into the public domain.
Yep.
So the public broadcasting grabbed it, and since there's no copyright to it, they could play over and over and over again. So now, because they didn't have to pay per screening or broadcasting of the movie, now it's so ingrained into our society that, you know, everyone's like, Clarence, or some other shit like that.
When it comes to like a Mickey Mouse, you know, for when I'm talking copyright, like 100 years after the fact, after it was already produced, I'm like, I don't see an issue with the copyright going into the public domain at some point in existence.
Well, right. But
so for me, I'm like, I don't see a problem with this. If
I think it's more creator control. I think, you know, when you've had that baby, that thing that you've been able to protect for over 100 years, and then all of a sudden you lose the ability to protect that thing, and then it would be very, very hard to disgrace Mickey Mouse to the point of it being completely destroyed. However, I'm sure there's some asshat out there that's would try if the copyright were to allow.
It's not going to stop. Like, you know, Disney might lose a little bit out in royalties here and there because companies like, I don't need to pay royalties anymore. But a lot of Disney's success still comes from the association with the mouse, being at Disney World and all that stuff, with all the other stuff that then goes with it that's made by Disney. So it's not like Disney is not going to be still rolling in the dough over this.
True.
I mean,
they'll still be able to sell the merchandise and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not like they still can't profit off of it.
The royalties.
I think that's the big difference. Would be, you know, that'd be kind of case. You know, let's just take like Walmart for instance. You know, they obviously sell, you know, Mickey Mouse stuff. Instead of I don't know how much doll. Let's just say $10 a doll. Can they now buy it from China for $3 because they don't have to pay licensing for it?
Yeah, I would assume so.
I mean, I would kind of curious. But then at the same time, you know, okay, the Mickey Mouse one isn't licensed, but now you still have to buy the Winnie the Pooh and all the other ones that are licensed. So at that point, is it even worth it to just deal with one doll? Or do you
if it's that recognizable of a character, probably.
Yeah. I mean, this would be kind of an interesting, almost like litmus test to see, you know, because think about it, you know, stuff like you have really popular stuff like classical composers who were never like in the official copyright. And it's not like those still aren't extremely popular nowadays. And it's not like somebody's gone around defaming Beethoven and Mozart. You know, they're still what they are. Even when you have people like me trying to play their music, people still appreciate People
I
still
appreciate the classics because you can't play music.
Yes, exactly. And same thing with Disney. Well, people still recognize the classic awesomeness of Mickey Mouse as Disney's product because the other stuff that people try to make a knockoffs are inferior.
I guess we'll find out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go on to our last topic of the evening. Now, of course, I do want to state this before we actually hit it. If you have a topic or question or concern for us for the upcoming Thursday night show or whatever, you please join our Discord channel. There is a channel that says Thursday night TNH, Thursday Night Hangout topic suggestions. And of course, you could drop a topic in there and we will basically round up all those and we will start voting on them to see which ones are of importance, which ones are on your radar, which ones aren't. And then, of course, that will be what our show will be. So let's bring in the last topic. And the last one is very interesting. There is a game called Moss. Now, it's a bit off. It's going to be a VR game. But the really cool thing is the main character is a little mouse. Now, you know, with a lot of the games, you have like characters who, when you don't move around, they don't, you know, they kind of like twiddle the thumbs or something, or maybe they make noises. The interesting thing is that this character can't speak. It can only squeak. So the way to kind of get around that is that this character, Quill, will be basically doing sign language, and simple sign language to help speak to the players who aren't fluent in mouse, which is quite interesting. And now the developers behind this actually showed it to the American Sign Language office and said, what do you think about this? And they were over the moon about it. So of course now they're going to kind of build upon it. Now, of course, they're not going to be signing everything. But what they do have planned is that this game will probably utilize the sign language for puzzle hints, reactions, and emotional responses. I'm not exactly sure what that would be for the those of hearing. I don't know what the equivalent would be, because it'd be interesting if only deaf people could learn the hints. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. I don't know signs. So this is just the European in me, I don't know, jazz hands, going crazy.
Which is also a different sign.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful.
Yeah, I know. But it is very interesting. And it's truly interesting to me because my day job, I'm basically a compliance officer. I have to make sure that everything is compliant to ADA standards when it comes to websites and stuff like that. So you have a video game that an individual actually has an additional benefit if you know sign language.
That'd be cool. I'll have to show it to some of our people at school because we actually have a pretty decent ASL, American Sign Language program at school where we have a deaf teacher who, you know, teaches ASL. And out of that, we've had a couple students who now want to go on to college to do signing and all that stuff. It's the deaf community is a very tight-knit community.
Yeah.
I mean, extremely tight as far as that goes. And I mean, they're all no different than you and I. They're just
Right.
they're all people who just have a different way of interacting with the world. So it'd be very cool to be, I mean, this is a very cool idea to me to see. And it's one of those things that, you know, like most things, if you can also get kids learning how to do this when they're young. You know, just like any other language, any way you interact with the world, the younger you get somebody doing with this and also experiencing the differences in others. You know, for us, it's so easy just to communicate with our words and our facials, but people who don't, you know, this is what they're used to, and showing that there's different ways of communicating other than just using your words and doing ASL. I think it's a pretty cool idea.
So there's videos, of course, that you can show the teachers, as well as there is a GIF out there where Quill, the mouse, actually just signs "nice to meet you."
Nice.
Which, you know, that's awesome. It is kind of.
I used to be able to say hello and my name is John, but I forgot.
To me, this is really cool.
Anytime you can give light to differences between people in a positive way and how to positively interact with that and showing that we're all the same is great to me.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to do our shout out section of our what is your opinion on the Ugandan warriors in VR chat room? I do not know what that is.
No idea.
But if you put that as a topic, we can try to research it and bring it into the next show. Of course, well, actually, nudge, you are in our Discord channel. But for those of you out there who have not joined
there on the screen.
Join our Discord channel. If you're watching this live, you've got it in the chat room. If you're watching this recorded, all you got to do is hit us up on the YouTube thing, and we will give you the link. So anyways, okay, so let's do our little bit of shout out here. And the first one, of course, is the convention that we're really excited about that's happening in March. And that is, of course, the one and only AndoCon. AndoCon is a convention that's basically homegrown here in the beautiful state of Georgia. AndoCon was founded by a gentleman by the name of Ando. It is an analog convention where you'll be playing pencil and paper RPGs, board games, card games, that type of thing. And the really interesting thing is that you're going to have independent developers of said game genres there that want you to test their games. So you could play games that aren't available to the public that will blow your mind. And then, of course, when it comes around to time to probably do a Kickstarter, say Merge and Acquisitions by Nerdburger Games, you already know about it and you immediately kickstart that shit because it's awesome!
It's awesome!
So by the way, if you're looking for a really interesting, less like statistics and, you're just looking for more of a story-driven game of subterfuge and chaos in the office environment, always check out Merge and Acquisitions. And of course, all the confusion will be there. This year, it's going to be in Peachtree Corners, Georgia, at the Peachtree Corners Marriott. And of course, it's March 9th through the 11th, 2018.
So what I was looking up is, I know in the past we've gone to, in a couple weeks, is Canuga. It's probably a good thing I didn't try to go because I couldn't actually go this year because I will be at a competition.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you might know, we have been at Canuga the past
3 years?
3 or 4 years.
I have been. You've been more.
And to be honest with you, we just unfortunately couldn't afford to go to to Canuga this year. It's really heartbreaking.
It's a fun convention.
We love hanging out with everyone at Canuga. It's a real fun convention in that aspect.
The vendors and patrons are phenomenal. And the nightlife.
Now, White Kid.
MomoCon!
Want to bring up MomoCon?
Bring it up! MomoCon!
MomoCon is happening in Atlanta, Georgia at the Georgia World Congress Center, May 24th through the 27th, 2018.
Indeed.
This, of course, was once upon a time an itty-bitty little anime convention and has now become more of a general fandom convention with flavors of anime and, of course, voice actors.
It's like a baby Dragon Con. That's how I look at it.
Dude, this thing is like this kind of rival. It's the sister to Dragon Con. That's what it is. No. That's what they've got a sister kind of relationship now. Okay. Anyways, so MomoCon is a phenomenal convention. I've personally been there, I don't know,
many years. Yeah.
I've been presenting for at least 4, 5, 6 years.
So many years.
We, of course, will be there. I have applied for my press credentials, so if you come to MomoCon, May 24th through the 27th, you may see me running around like my ass is on fire because I'm trying to interview a bunch of people. But of course,
if you ask Charlie nicely, he'll interview you.
Yeah, or I'll sign a Mountain Dew can for you.
Or your chest hairs.
That would be hard. But anyways, MomoCon is phenomenal. There's a ton of voice actors. There's a ton of competitions that happen there. Famous artists and anime voices, and there's an indie game section there, which of course I probably will be the vast majority of the time. But it is awesome. Let's see here, other shout outs. Let me do a quick little shout out about a publishing company that has supported Altered Confusion, so a little bit of love back at them, and that of course is it's gone!
No!
It's the Burning Willow Press. Burning Willow Press is a company that has basically published a ton of books that are probably more like it's in the sci-fi fantasy realm ish. One of the main authors that I read from the Burning Willow Press is Kendra Souter. I have, let's see here, at least 2 of her complete series. She writes novellas, short stories, and of course the vast majority of her books are based with very strong female leads. which I have no problem with. It's really a good. She's a good writer. She does have a couple little flaws here and there, but overall, she knows what she's doing. So definitely Burning Willow Press.
Very nice, very nice.
All right, so now it's time for self-promo.
Self-promos!
Ladies and gentlemen, there's this phenomenal thing called Patreon. Patreon is the website where you, my friends, the fans, the friends, the lovers, all that stuff, can give back to Altered Confusion in a monetary fashion. Now, of course, our Patreon is set up for a monthly donation thing. So basically, you can pledge a donation of whatever amount you want to. I think $1 might be the bare minimum. And that will go to Altered Confusion I think it's at the beginning or end of every single month. And that money goes towards the upkeep of Altered Confusion, as well as the ability for Altered Confusion to go to conventions. Last year, because technically it is last year now, in 2017, we were able to raise enough funds through our Patreon to allow for us to appear at Big Fandom Greenville.
Woo!
Now, of course, we would love to, once again, be able to go to Big Fandom Greenville, but we'd also like to do a couple other things and maybe expand on what Altered Confusion could do.
Indeed.
But we can't do that without you. Now, I understand that there are individuals out there who are not looking for like a monthly subscription type of thing. If you want to donate financially, monetarily, you could do a one-time thing. You could click the Donate Now button on either our website or on our Twitch channel, and that's basically a PayPal account that sends right to Altered Confusion. Now, I know that you don't. I could say this stuff, and you could just make of it what you will. But this money literally stays with Altered Confusion. I don't touch it.
My cat doesn't touch it.
Zealeus' cat doesn't touch it. It's literally for Altered Confusion to help.
The Mountain Dew doesn't even touch it.
No, the Mountain Dew comes out of my pocket.
That's how dedicated you are.
Well, technically, Altered Confusion's come out of my pocket for 11 years. So.
What's yours is Altered Confusion. What's Altered Confusion is yours.
Yeah. No. What money goes into Altered Confusion is Altered Confusion's. My money can go into Altered Confusion.
But the money cannot come back out.
But it can't come back out, right. But let's say that you want to help Altered Confusion out in some other way. The easiest way for you to help out Altered Confusion is, of course, when you see us post a video, a story, something that you find interesting. I know we are very, very happy for you to like or favorite that. But if you could take it a step forward and actually share it, or retweet it, or something like that, to allow for a broader audience to see it, that would allow for our viewership to grow, and that would also allow for us to maybe be able to do more stuff for Altered Confusion. And of course, if you want to go the route of, well, I don't really want to give money, but I do want to help get some stuff for Altered Confusion. There is a wish list, which of course I keep forgetting to publish, that basically lists like a couple, some different stuff.
A new camcorder?
A new camcorder is definitely one of them. A new webcam.
Yes.
And an external
battery pack?
No. It's the
wireless thing?
No. It's for the streaming. What do you call it? Basically, the card actually does the link to Twitch, so it doesn't kill my computers. Like
yes, I know exactly.
It's a capture card. Is that right?
Yeah, video capture card.
There it is.
Yes.
If you want to go that route, but
we appreciate it, Way.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out the latest and greatest from Altered Confusion, of course, if you follow us on Twitter at AlteredConfusionYo, that's Altered Confusion without the N, because
the N would blow up the internet.
You, of course, can. I would highly recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, AlteredConfusionLLC. Now, of course, if you're watching this on Twitch, then you already know where to find us. I would recommend that you favorite the channel or subscribe to it. And also, when you do that, make sure that you click on I think it's the bell or the heart, and make sure that the notifications is turned on, so you know when we go on.
So you get it on your phone, because we're all attached to this damn thing.
Exactly. And of course, if you want to follow us on Facebook,
you can Altered Confusion probably.
It's Altered Confusion. Of
Thank
course,
you.
You check out our main website, www.alteredconfusion.com.
Indeed.
And of course, if you want to be part of our Discord channel, if you're watching this live, then you probably already have the link. If you're either listening to us via podcast or you're watching this video recorded, you of course can reach out to us and we can give you the invite. And then you too can become part of the Discord channel as well, which would give you the opportunity to directly give us your Thursday night subject suggestions. That doesn't mean that we won't accept them outside of that, but you'll also get to see what other people have.
And you get to vote on the topics.
That too.
It's very
that
exciting.
Too. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to thank everybody who tuned into the Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been a pleasure giving you everything coming out of our heads, our mouths, and of course, our hearts. We'll be back next Thursday for another rousing round of Altered Confusion Thursday Night Hangout. Now, of course, remember that I do stream on Tuesdays and Sundays from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Now, there might be a slight change with the Tuesday one, which is going to be a little bit weird. I will keep you in the loop about that. But otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and we will see you soon.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.